Hi everyone, Jeremy from Phoenix Regen, your joint, muscle and stem cell experts, and I'm here with Dr. David Wilson. He is our resident doctor here in our Phoenix Health office in Norway, and as promised in our previous video, or my previous video, I've been suffering with capsulitis, which is inflammation of the joint of my shoulder after I fell on it, and I've also had acute tendonitis after falling on that tendon. As I've explained in my previous videos, this will get better by itself, but I really understand a lot of why patients come in here every day and are asking for injections, they're asking for anything, they're desperate for solutions because it is incredibly painful and it really goes over a lot of your daily activities and particularly your sleeping. And so what I've tried to explain in the last few videos is how we diagnosed, where we found it. Also, I was really lucky Dr. Wilson here did an ultrasound to find exactly where the joint effusion was or where the injury was. We've used cilia to explain how we biomechanically tried to use conservative methods to just try and speed up the recovery process, and that helped amazingly too. I was very lucky that Dr. Wilson here came back from holiday last week, and I couldn't have been happy to see him, not because I enjoy his company, but because he could help me as fast as possible. So, as I said, this would have got better itself. It didn't necessarily need help, but when you've got a regenerative expert on staff, we thought, what could we do regenerative medicine wise to try and get my shoulder to heal as fast as possible? And so, with that said, take it away, Dr. David Wilson.
So we did a PRP injection, that's platelet-rich plasma, and as you'll know, those injections, they contain all of the platelets that you collect up from whatever blood draw you do. In Jeremy's case, we took 50 mils of blood for the shoulder. We drew that down, centrifuged it, and then from the centrifugation, you take off a little bit of the plasma, you take off the entirety of the platelets and white blood cell layer, the buffy coat layer, mix that together, and that leaves you with a super concentrated, super physiological concentrate of healing factors and growth potential there from the platelets themselves, as well as some of the actual intrinsic factors that are floating around in your plasma. So we took that, we got it ready, and we injected both into the capsule. So he had an intracapsular, and then as well as that, we used the ultrasound. We could identify where there was a little bit of edema around the tendons, and we were able to inject directly under ultrasound guidance to the tendons that needed it. So I think we put in a total of 3.5 milliliters into that shoulder. We could have pushed more, but really at some point with an acute injury like this, you don't want to push too hard because you already have pain, and the PRP is going to generate a pain response.
Yeah, and that's one thing I do want to say in here. That is exactly like, even though you want to get as many healing factors into that tissue as possible, help it heal as fast as possible, there is a restriction amount of volume you can get into it. And that's why it's extremely important getting the right type of PRP for the right type of injury, because you're really restricted the amount of volume you can get into that area. So you really want to make sure you get the ideal concentration in there to maximize your injection.
That's right. So, and in this case then, musculoskeletally, you're going to be aiming for something between 5 and 7. You're going to find a 7 times concentrate gives you a much lower volume relative to the volumes we're talking about. 7 times concentrate versus 5 times concentrate. That's a 3 milliliter difference for the whole volume. And I mean, really makes a difference when you're talking about small, tight joints and round tendons. In particular, actually, tendons tend to be very painful for patients.
Yeah.
You do have the option of giving a local anesthetic in advance. The problem with that is actually you approach your volume limit. So if you give a local anesthetic into the joint, into the capsule, you actually end up adding volume before you will then need to put in the PRP. Now, they'll be numb, but they probably won't thank you for it the day after, whenever their capsule is going to be even more expanded.
Yeah, and that's something I will say that typically you do see with PRP injections that pain levels do increase transiently within the next sort of 1 day to 3 days. And so I definitely felt that. I felt like my shoulder was probably the worst it's been 2 days after injection out of the whole 2-week period. And then it's really been yesterday and today. So, yeah, a little bit, day 4? Day 4, things really have started to get better, and it's been getting progressively better and better, okay? So that's one thing that we use ourselves, as we say, we've used it on our own injuries, and we have a lot of great success using on tendon issues to really stimulate that body and stimulate those tissues to heal as fast as possible, okay? If you guys have any further questions on PRP or shoulder problems, we would love you to take contact with us. So if you've got any good comments, please comment down below. Or if you want us to see if we could help you out with your shoulder, we highly recommend that you click on our links, go to our website. We'd love to see what we can do to help you at one of our many offices. Have a lovely day.
Bye-bye.